Hello everyone, and welcome back to another tier list video here at Tier List Thursday. As a lot of you wanted more tier lists under the last tank one that we gone over, and I thought, okay, let's make it a format. So let me know down below what other tier lists you want to have in the upcoming weeks. We're gonna go in here with fighters today, and yep, so leaving a like and a follow so that you don't miss any, and that other people don't miss these tier lists as well. And yep, let's go over this. This is only fighters, so only planes that are focused on shooting down other planes this time around. And yeah, it's a good couple of combinations here. All nations involved, including Belgium. And we start with the Starfighter here, the F104G AA, only in TKS. Really cheap plane, one of the cheapest fighters here, only beaten by the Harrier and the Mig21 base, and it's a super fast fighter. That's the one thing of the Starfighter. It is super fast, and that is quite helpful, together with being cheap, as that helps you getting to what you want to shoot down. Enemy helicopters, enemy aircraft, especially bombers that you want to chase. So there the Starfighter is great. Issue of the Starfighter, it has shitty missiles. It doesn't have the shotgun missiles, so it is only mediocre at shooting those things down, but you can afford 2 of these per minute, so with 2 you usually get the kill. And thanks to the high speed, they also get out of AA range quite quickly. The turn rate leaves them on there a bit too long, but still a B tier unit here. Absolutely solid one. If you can use it, you use it. Especially in TKS, also great to overwhelm just the enemy air defense by having more stuff out there. F15C Eagle has been S tier since the start of the game, is still an S tier plane. The AIM 120s are just too strong to put it lower, together with the high ECM and the fast speed. If you micro these guys well, they kill everything. Only issue that this Eagle has is that it only has 2 sidewinders, and that leaves it as a relatively bad helo hunter, and also can be annoying if you have to face a lot of enemy planes, but it's still a really fantastic plane there at the moment. F15C Eagle here in S tier. Now we come to the Belgian F16, and that one has been nerfed a good bit since it first came around. In price, it's one of the first shotgun planes, and it's still decent at that, but it also only has 4 damage missiles now. It means even 2 of them don't kill an enemy plane or an enemy helicopter. That has made it a lot worse. I would only put it into B tier by now. And it's still used a lot, and it's still a useful plane in the decks that get it in the second Panzer Grenadier. But it's not as OP as it once was, and it has fallen off a good bit in my eyes since then. Then the F16C, that's the normal one. That's not the shotgun. And that one is another B tier plane here. It is held back by having too few missiles to really reliably shoot something down on its own. And it's also quite expensive by now. It is fast, it has good ECM. Like decently fast, it has good ECM. Especially, and the missiles that it has, they are pretty deadly. But in the end, still only a B tier plane here. Nothing too fancy. F16C, that's the shotgun version. The shotgun planes currently, with so little room to micro against them, really strong. It's also still quite affordable, and it has deadly missiles plus the high ECM. Higher ECM than the A version here, for example, of the Belgians as well. So really strong there, going in and getting those kills. So fantastic plane to use at the moment. F5E Phantom, another A tier plane. It has good long range missiles, it has good ECM, and it is a lot cheaper than the F16C, whilst having similar killing power mostly. Has a couple of other stats that are worse, turn rate and the air optics as well, so it doesn't spot as well, but outside of that, the F4E is super good for its price point. You use it a lot in the decks that have it, and you usually bring it around, and it can shoot stuff down from afar. Since the speed buff, the F4s really have come around. And its brethren here, the F4FA, has done so as well, and has done so with a lot of prowess. It's currently what the F16A was back in the day. It is a shotgun plane with 5 damage missiles, and it is used a lot. The missile's still not as great, but it's so cheap, and you get 4 per card at the moment. So yeah, the 5th Panzer uses it a lot, and it's a fantastic card. It is still not unbeatable. because it is a um, relatively low range, and it's the only plane that this deck gets, and no long range missiles in the deck. So if the enemy micros well around it, they can beat it, but it's hard to beat, especially cost efficiency wise. Then the F15C Eagle, that's another A-tier plane. It has more sidewinders, but it is more expensive, and its long range missiles are less reliable than the AIM-120. So that's why I would put it only in A-tier here in comparison to the S-tier Eagle there with the AIM-120. And then we go to the Harrier, which I still think is a pretty terrible fighter. Usually you use just other Harriers with that bring up some sidewinders as well, if you want to have a Harrier, and that brings some bombs too. And yeah, this one, the turn rate on the Harrier is just too bad. If it would get a slight buff in turn rate, I think could be viable, but at the moment it stays too long over enemy air defense. It can't really dogfight efficiently against enemy planes, so all of that doesn't really help these guys. So yeah, they are pretty bad. Mig21 is also not the greatest. You could compare it here, but it's missile only 4 damage. It's not quite as fast as the F104, and it's only 5 points cheaper. So yeah, it doesn't have shotguns, so that's leaving it a good bit behind. Whilst its brother in here, the Mig21, that one is another shotgun plane. Issue is, one of those is a 5 damage missile, the other one is a 4 damage missile. Together, that's 9 damage, so you still need to get some gunfire on there, or you need to hope that your 5 damage missiles hit, but at that point you're just a normal... yeah, you're just a normal plane that fires the missile after each other. So yeah, that leaves it a bit down. Also the missiles, yeah, not the most reliable, but it is a shotgun plane. It doesn't pay that much extra compared to these two here, for example. All 8 hit points, so they are relatively easy to kill. They are low ECM, but yeah, they do the job there. And then we have its brethren, which is this one, which just has the 4 damage missiles. And yes, they are a bit more reliable, but I'm not a big fan of them in comparison to just being able to get a 5 damage missile. So yeah, I would put it a bit behind. It's still shotgun plane, but yeah, not as great as the NATO ones that have 5 damage on the missiles. And then the East German MiG-23MF and the MiG-23ML, both pretty good planes. The MF, I would put here into B tier. Actually, would put it ahead because it has long range missiles, and that's a fantastic thing to have. It is the worst long range missile with the R23R, but it has those long range missiles on a cheap plane, can hit enemy planes from afar and force them out, and is good against bombers with that, is good against any of these. And then the MiG-23ML even has a decent missile there on long range, and that puts it into A tier here for the cost efficiency and just being able to like shoot those things from long range, hit something, get out potentially, and still being the same price here. The R60Ms that they have next to it with only 4 damage, not the most amazing, but combined it's 6 plus 4 damage instead of 5 plus 4 damage, so that's 10 damage if you get a hit with each, and that's a kill. So MiG-23 MLs and MFs doing a good job for the East Germans. The Soviet versions, not so well much. Like, only 5 points cheaper here, the ML, and it has only R60Ms. It is completely overpriced at the moment. No shotgun, no nothing. This is another D tier plane in my eyes. Don't bring this. It's, unless you absolutely have to, it's an absolutely horrible plane. Yeah, same level as the Harrier. It can't hunt down helicopters well because it only has 4 damage on its missiles. It's not particularly fast, it has 10 ECM, so it's trash in that regard as well. And you just can't shoot down anything with it. And it's still, like, in the mid-segment cost-wise, it makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. The MiG-23 MLD is pretty comparable to the MF. A bit more pricey, a bit better missile. It's not like similar around to the MiG-23M. I guess we put it up here in front. And Then the MiG-23 MLD AA2 actually has pretty good missiles. So I would put it here higher in B tier. It pays extra for it, but the missiles are pretty good. So that is quite helpful. They actually can kill stuff with those. Both the R24MR with the better accuracy and the R73 as the short range missiles are a good combination. They do good damage, so that helps out as well. Then MiG-29s, where we have the first one coming in on a B tier here. Yeah, that one just solid missiles, quick speed, can shoot down stuff from afar, and get some damage with reliable missiles, relatively reliable missiles. The MiG-29 AA2 has worse missiles, only 10 points cheaper, not really what you want. Yeah, so that is that. And then you have the MiG-23 AA3, which is kind of like a side grade here. Slightly lower range on its missile, but that missile is infrared, so you can start turning away once fired. That's actually quite helpful. So yeah, I would put it here into A tier together with the other one. And then we have the German one at last, and that is just a copycat, so that goes in here as well. MiG-29 AA of the East Germans doing a decent job as well. Filling out the A tier here. MiG-31B next. And that one is pretty pricey, and I'm not the biggest fan of it in 1v1s. It's still an absolute god in team games. Let me put this here though for 1v1s, and I'd say it's a high B tier, maybe even lower. Like, let's put it here, because it is not that reliable in killing. It is hard to kill, but it's not reliable at killing planes, and it can't kill helicopters. And that's a big thing. Like, it can't really shoot down helicopters. It has a gun nowadays, but that gun with this high speed, you don't really get a kill there. And yeah, you have to get out there quickly with this thing. It's not good at dogfighting either. So yeah, it's really pricey. It's really expensive right now. So for an unreliable plane, that is not great. That's why it's B tier. Like, the Eagle only costs you 5 points more. And sure, the MiG-21 with its insanely long range is more survivable because it can fire and then can get out. But on the other side, it also kills way less, and usually you buy a fighter to kill something, and when your fighters don't kill something, that's not great. That's not great. Mirage 2000 RC coming up next. RDI. 2000C RDI. Yeah, that's another good plane here. Would put that around the F-16. Reliable airframe, good stats all around, and the missiles are French, and the French missiles are not the greatest, so let's let it down a bit. So missiles that it gets are okay. The low amount of missiles is a bit of an issue though, like that you only get 4, same like with the F-16C. That's why I would put them in B tier here together. Mirage F1C, a bit cheaper, worse missiles, and yeah, they are a good bit worse. It's a fast plane though, so it's also cheaper. That's why I would put it still in A tier here. Like, the price difference is quite big. Yes, the missiles are a good bit worse, but it's also a faster plane. And yeah, that's why low A tier here. Meanwhile, Mirage 3E has a long range missile, but it's a terrible one. And everything else about this plane just doesn't click anymore at all in my eyes. Like, yeah, low ECM, it has terrible short range missiles, and it is really pricey for that. 8 hit points, so it gets one shot by everything. It was super strong for a while, but it has fallen off quite a bit. On the other side of the spectrum, the Phantom F3. That is a fantastic air-to-air fighter now, and that is another A tier here. Yeah, let's put that here, where it belongs, as this is a fighter that can really bring the pain to the enemy. The Phantom is super good at shooting down planes nowadays, since the speed buff, the missiles that it has, the price point, like having 8 missiles for 175 points is insane. You don't have a gun, but yeah, you just have to use it on the long range with the sky flashes, and then it does its job really well. SU-27S has pushed itself up with the latest price buff, where it went down to 250 points to an S tier rank. It was pretty solid already before. The range stacking on the missiles also helps this thing being super reliable because it has the most missiles, 10 missiles. If missiles gets buffed, the thing with the most missiles profits, and that's the Su-27S. It can shoot down things left, right, and center now, and that's for 250 points. It's a super reliable airframe. I absolutely love that thing at the moment, and that's what puts it in S tier. Tornado, similar, 8 missiles, pretty good. Not quite as reliable in general, but a good airframe as well. Putting it into A tier, since 250 points for both is quite nice. And yeah, Tornado really can get the kills done. Now, it was pretty mediocre for a while, but yeah, the range stacking on the long range missiles and so on, helping out these guys quite a bit. And if you have 2 tornadoes out there, the enemy has to respect it nowadays, and I really like that. Like, I really like that these 4 planes here especially, or like 3 planes, do a good job, the long range interceptors. Even though, like, if you micro correctly, they are the better ones, but if you get caught out, the F4Fs and all the shotgun guys here, they can be pretty painful as well. So, especially these 2 shotgun planes here. Yeah, that can be pretty painful. But Su-27, absolutely lovely plane. Just the Eagle, still better. So yeah, let me know down below what you think about the tier list. What would you put as the lowest here? And do you agree with my S tier ranks? And yeah, what plane do you want to see buffed? Which plane do you want to see nerfed? See you next time, guys. Bye bye, and have a great day.